So he joins us on Fridays. It's so cool to have a guy who, he knows so many worlds. He bridges art, screen, and stage, and music, and everything. He's the culture blaster. And he comes to us on a rainbow. Oh! He's Michael Snyder, everyone. How about it?
Hey there, Michael.
Hey, hi, Brett, and hello to John, and of course to our fearless leader, the interlocutor himself, Mark Thompson.
And don't forget Chris. Chris can always...
Seriously, what the
Hey, guys, how about that episode of The Fresh Punch of Bel-Air last Sunday, huh?
Come on, Fresh Punch of Bel-Air.
Pretty exciting.
I thought I'd heard everything. I hadn't heard that.
It was exciting the first time I saw it, but I quickly tired of the reruns. I mean, unending.
That's true.
I do have some breaking news, though. Oscar statuettes will now be fitted with mouth guards.
Come on, everybody. That's what I'm saying.
No, look, come on. Let's be honest here, or what passes for honest. Will Smith is truly the greatest actor of his generation. April Fools! Everybody.
I don't think you need...
Seriously, what the...
You don't need to... I don't think you need to dump on Will about his acting. Didn't you like him in King Richard?
No, King Richard I thought was first rate, but I didn't think it was, the greatest performance by a male actor in 2021 on screen. Hey, look, I will say that the people who think that the Smith slap was staged have been so overwhelmed or numbed by fake news and misinformation and disinformation churned out on this torrent of digital media platforms that they don't believe the blatant truth even when it slaps them in the face.
I see what you did. Don't applaud that, Chris. That's not... yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Wow, you really came loaded up with the Will Smith stuff today, didn't you?
He's a homeboy of mine. I was born in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right.
And I got into a fracas, and my parents sent me to live with my auntie and aunt in San Francisco. The Fresh Prince of Russian Hill.
Fresh Prince. I get the reference. Oh. By the way, fracas I will consider a ding word.
All right,
please.
fine.
Right.
Let's get. Come on, movie. It's movie time.
Yeah, give us some movies. Sure.
To quote Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now, because why not? The horror, because the movies I'm covering today all deal with horror to one degree or another. There's superhero horror. There's mythological horror. There's true crime horror. So let's rock and roll with this. Morbius is Sony Pictures' latest attempt to pull off profit from their long-running deal that gives them the rights to make movies about Spider-Man. And here's the key: characters that are specifically related to Spider-Man or first appeared in Spider-Man comics. It's basically the only character or corner of the Marvel universe that isn't now totally controlled by Marvel Studios and their deal with Disney.
That's interesting. Okay.
So they collaborate on the Spider-Man movies per se, and they kind of connect him to all these big MCU films, but they actually control so many characters that Marvel basically does less kibitzing, and they let Sony have their way. So anyway, we have Morbius.
Is kibitzing a ding word? I don't think so.
It's a Yiddish word.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Anyway, we have Morbius based on the so-called living vampire character. That kind of spoils things a little bit, but let's proceed. Dr. Michael Morbius, brought to Half-Life by Jared Leto. I mean, this guy won Oscars. He's the erstwhile Joker in a few Warner Brothers DC movies.
Erstwhile's a ding word.
Okay. Anyway, this guy has had a debilitating, Morbius, not Leto, a debilitating, incurable blood disease since childhood. It's crippled him, and it's going to kill him unless he comes up with a cure soon. His work is financed by boyhood chum Milo, played as a grown-up by Matt Smith of The Crown and Doctor Who. And Milo also suffers from the same disease, so he's got a little...
skin in the game.
Absolutely. Morbius splices vampire bat DNA with human DNA, as one does, injects himself with the stuff, and is cured with the added strength, speed, and echolocation of a bat. Right. Instead of a Joker, Leto is now playing a Batman. Oh, the irony. Anyway, there are side effects and special effects, like a Jekyll Hyde thing when the doctor's anger brings out a grotesque bat face. And, oh, yeah, he needs blood or he will revert to his sick self And Morbius is famous in this world for having created artificial blood that's helped save many lives, but it starts to lose the effect of curing the bat crazy problems.
So artificial blood, that's irony. The very thing that he invented won't actually help his condition, is what you're saying.
Only to an extent. So eventually only human blood will... anyway. So soon people in New York City are being drained of blood. Geez, I wonder who's responsible. But is it really the work of the good doctor, or is somebody else going all Dracula?
Somebody else could be doing it, and then Morbius takes the hit.
I will try not to be too scathing about Morbius. Like, I won't stoop to it sucks or even it bites. But it's not...
Don't applaud that, Chris.
It's not very good. The movie has nothing but half-baked relationships with minimal development, including the ones between best friends Morbius and Milo, between them and their doctor mentor, who was played by the always great Jared Harris, another Jared and a good one. The movie's requisite romance is underdeveloped. He's got a female assistant. Oh, my God. In other words, every significant relationship. Then director Daniel Espinosa leans too heavily on busy CGI visuals that sort of muddle the action rather than making it clear and impactful. And there's a clumsy connection to the Marvel movies in the MCU at the very end of this completely inconclusive film that fails to present Morbius as a hero, a villain, or even an anti-hero. And other than Matt Smith's lively and increasingly unhinged performance as Milo, Morbius is Borbius. It's in theaters.
Wow, you really didn't like it.
No, I was very disappointed. I'm a big fan of this stuff.
I don't know about
seriously, what the
Okay, well, whether you take it as a strange horror movie set in Macedonia way over 100 years ago, or as the world's most unsettling coming-of-age movie since, I don't know, The Omen, You Won't Be Alone is chillingly effective. In the remote countryside, a young girl is taken from her mother and turned into a witch by some sort of ancient sorceress. I guess it's the black magic equivalent of paying it forward. I don't know. Anyway, although now a junior witch, she craves the normal human experiences she's being denied, so she starts killing people and transforming into her victims to taste what their lives were like.
What a craven idea. It's kind of,
A craven, give that a ding.
Ding is, yeah, you're right. It was pretty good.
Stark, it's twisted, dark, ugly, grisly, and tender at times, too, and blessed by a very good cast, including Noomi Rapace, most recently in Black Crab, but, she's the girl with the dragon tattoo, and it's a small role for Noomi. Look, you know what? This is a thinking person's creep show, and I guess a reading person's creep show if you don't understand the Greek, and you got to use the subtitles. It gets gory at times, but not gratuitously, artfully and chillingly made by writer-director Goran Stolevsky.
You kind of liked that then.
I did. You Won't Be Alone is in theaters, and I liked it. And now, here's more misery from every corner of the universe. Nitram. I suppose you could call Nitram an example of docu-horror, maybe? Brett, do you have a question?
Is it based on a true story?
Yes, it absolutely is based on a true and ghastly story. In the mid-1990s, a middle-class husband and his wife live in suburban Australia with their socially and emotionally stunted adult son, Nitram, which, by the way, is Martin backwards. Anyway, played by Caleb Landry Jones, Nitram is an out-of-shape, slovenly-looking man-child with long, stringy hair. He has a history of behavioral issues, and his dad, played by Anthony LaPaglia, and his mother, played by Judy Davis, have to kind of endure this and protect him from himself, and I guess protect themselves. Unfortunately, things are getting worse, and then Nitram meets a wealthy, unkempt, and a slightly wacky middle-aged woman played by Essie Davis, who you may know from The Babadook and the Miss Fisher Mysteries. Anyway, LaPaglia, Davis, Aussie acting royalty. They're all tremendous in this. And Nitram and the older woman, that's one disturbing liaison, especially to Nitram's mother, and things just can't end well. There's a sickening inevitability to what happens, but the execution, of the story is so well done. It's like watching a slow-mo car crash, and you can't tear your eyes away.
Wow.
And there are more victims than your normal car crash, by the way, eventually. Nitram was expertly directed by Justin Kurzel. As true crime movies and stories go, this is solid stuff in theaters and also streaming on demand. Nitram.
Wow, you really like that.
It was great. I loved it.
That's surprising to me. I thought you were setting us up for, and that is a true story, you're saying.
Absolutely. And speaking of true stories, let's wrap the movie segment here with Gagarin, which is a slightly more conventional coming-of-age story than one about a witch and her spawn. There are moments of horror here, but they're more of the mundane sort, the awful challenges faced by abandoned children, the pain felt by the economically disadvantaged when public services can't or won't take care of business, and the tragedy of dashed dreams. There's some hard truth here in this drama based against an actual low-income housing project that has existed on the periphery of Paris since 1963. It's a complex named Gagarin, after Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin, who was actually at the inauguration of this housing project, and he could be seen in newsreel footage at the top.
Wow.
What?
As the movie begins, teenage Yuri, named after the cosmonaut, is trying his very best to maintain the place, which has fallen into disrepair and is now in large part home to immigrants from North and Central Africa and their offspring, like Yuri. He's played in very winning fashion by newcomer Ashini Biafli. It's Alcini Bathili. That's it.
All right.
These African names, my God.
Yes.
Anyway, Yuri's proactive and eager to help the community. He has a sharp, creative mind, but he's also a dreamer whose reveries take him into space, especially when confronted by the harsh reality of the housing project, the only home he's ever known being it's going to be demolished. It's going to be ticketed. His home is going to be destroyed. So, he's heartsick. And all of this is compounded by the fact that he's been left alone by a single mom who now lives with a boyfriend.
Oh, my God, this is awful. So what's happening? What happens?
But he's inspired to try to help people and keep this housing project going. And although some of the locals keep a friendly, watchful eye on him.
But that doesn't mean that
know.
it's a good thing.
Well, they value his enthusiasm. Yeah. He seems to feel he can only rely on his best friend. And this cute girl from the nearby Roma encampment. This is directed by...
There's a romance here.
Yeah, it's a teen, again, coming of age.
Okay, that's sweet.
Fanny Leotard and Jeremy Trujillo. They are two of the movies.
Listening to you butcher everybody's name, that could be a whole segment.
No, it's Jeremy Trujillo. I got those names right. It was the African that gave me trouble.
Okay,
but I speak French. Hey, by the way, speaking of France,
he does speak French.
Poisson d'avril. That's April fish. That's what the French call today.
Oh, is that right? That's good.
Anyway, Gagarin is a touching, melancholy tale that's going to warm and break your heart, and it's a very pointed example of civic decay, its fallout, and the human cost of it all. It's really my favorite film of the four today.
Wow, Gagarin.
And it's in theaters, my friends.
Gagarin, he likes, really his favorite of the group, Nitram. There's a lot of bloodshed. It's based on a true story.
We don't see a lot of overt bloodshed. The blood is running thicker in the Witch movie. There's a little more gore
And
there.
the Witch movie is You Won't Be Alone. He didn't like that as much.
No, I thought it was good.
No,
the
you
one
did?
of the four movies, the only one I didn't like was...
Morbius.
Yes.
Morbius, he really didn't like, despite the fact that it has Jared Leto and a bunch of other people in it, and you just really didn't feel as though it worked.
Just flat.
But You Won't Be Alone, Nitram, and Gagarin, you liked it. Michael, I wish we had more time. We don't. You're lovely to come in. You can find him across social media and the Marina Times at Culture Blaster. He comes and goes in a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael. Fare thee well.